Uh, Unit 3, we will talk about different environment for the living organisms. We have learned that living organisms need air. They need something, a group of things like air, like water, like food, like shelter or habitat. Habitat is the place where the living thing can live, and their needs are present in their habitat. Their needs like what? Like air, like water, like food is present in their environment. Okay? So we have environment and we have habitat. Okay? Do you know the difference between environment and habitat?
Yeah.
What's the difference? Do you know the difference?
Yes.
Yes, what's the difference between them?
The difference between the habitat is a place where the carnivores animals in the habitat.
Only carnivorous
Or
animals? Only carnivorous animals?
not only carnivores.
All living
Not
things.
only carnivores.
Yes, any living thing. So the environment.
Yes, all living things.
Yes,
In
the
living
environment.
things.
اوكي اتفضل كملي قولي. طبعا.
كملتها.
ايه؟
ايوه قلتها.
تمام خلصتي كده. طيب تمام. بص, the environment is everything around us. Everything around us we call it environment. Like what? Like animals, like plants, like hills, landscapes like hills, rivers, mountains, streams, and also contain the condition that can be changed. Like what? Like weather, like buildings. So the environment is everything around us that contain conditions that can be changed, like weather, like building. Habitat is a part of the environment. So the environment is the big word or the big world around us. Habitat is a part of environment. Okay? Habitat is the part of the environment that contain the food and air and water and shelter for the living organism. Okay? Can you hear me?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, habitats give living things their needs. Habitat is a part of the environment and gives the living things its needs. Shelter, air, a place to have offspring, and also food and food. Okay, and food. Okay, so this is the difference between environment and habitat. Environment is everything around us containing conditions that can be changed, like weather, like buildings. We call all these things environment. Habitat is a part of the environment. It's a part of the environment that gives the living thing what it needs. Shelter, air, food, water, the place to have offspring. Okay? Okay. Here we have two types of environment. This is rainforest or rainfall, and this is desert environment. They are, what similarities can you see in the two natural environments? He wants from us to mention the similarities between this environment and this environment. Can you see any similarities between them?
Yeah.
What is the similarities between
The
them?
mountains.
Okay. What else?
And the plants.
Plants, very good. What else?
Only these two.
Sunshine. Sun
Yeah,
reaches the
yeah.
two environments. Right. These are the similarities that the two environments contain plants, contain landscapes or mountain, the same, and contain the sunshine. طيب what is the difference between them?
The water and the sand.
The water is what?
The water and the sand.
The water. What's the difference between the water in the two environments?
Because the desert don't have a water.
Uh,
Triple waterfall has a water.
Okay, a desert contain water, but the water in the desert is in a small amount.
Yes.
Yes, the rains in the desert are rare. It's rare to find rains in the desert. So the amount of water in this environment, in desert environment, is small. While in the waterfall environment, this environment,
What?
the water in this environment present a lot in huge amount.
Yes.
Yes. The amount of plants here and here, the deserts contain small amounts or many plants because the water is rare. While in the waterfall, the plants present a lot. There are a lot of plants because the water present in large amounts. Okay, Sabah?
Okay.
Okay. In this environment, the sunshine can't reach the bottom of the waterfall or the environments that contain waterfall because the plants are heavy and long, and it makes the sunshine difficult to reach the bottom of this environment. Okay, so plants are tall and big, and they can prevent sunlight to reach the bottom of this environment. Here, it's all sunny, and the sun can reach every part in the desert. Is it true?
No.
No, why no?
What? I didn't hear you. I said no for something else.
Okay. So the sun here can reach every part. There is no plants to make the sun or to stay against the sun. The sun can reach all the parts of the desert environment. So the two are two environments. Each environment contains different habitats for living things. I found here living things that can live in this environment. It has features in their bodies to make it survive in this environment, the desert environment. Like camel. Camel can live in the desert. It can bear the rareness of water. So it can live easily in this environment. In waterfall environment, we can find another types of animals that can live in this environment. So each environment has its condition and has its own types of living things that can live inside it. Okay, Laya? Okay, Sabah?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are different living things that can live in this environment. And living things different from those who live here can live in the desert environment. Okay? Okay. Here we will talk about things called food chain. Food chain is a model or a group of pictures that shows what living things eat in an environment. And here all these living organisms live together in one environment. Each living thing eats the other living thing. Here, the grasses use the sunlight to make its own food. Okay? And this grasshopper come and eat the grass. Okay? After the grasshopper eat the grass, the frog come and eat the grasshopper. After the frog eat the grasshopper, the heron come and eat the frog. This is called a food chain. Food chain shows that living thing eat another living thing that's present with him in the same environment. They are all present in the same environment. Each living thing eat another living thing. Heron eat frog, frog eat grasshopper, grasshopper eat grass, grass make its own food from the sun. Okay, so
Okay.
what we call the grass? We call the grass a producer. Why we call the grass a producer, Sabah?
What?
Why we call the grass or any plant, we call them a producer?
Because the grasshopper is the grasshopper eat the grass. The grass is producer because it's eaten by the grasshopper. Any plants and any plants like the grass, it's named producer because it's eaten by the producer.
Okay, but the word producer, we call plants producer, not because the grasshopper eat the grass. We call them producer because they can produce their own food. Okay, plants are the only living thing that can make its own food using sunlight. The plant can make or can produce, can form or can make its own food using sunlight. If I stand in the sun as a human, can I make my own food from the sunlight?
No.
No. Only the plants can make this thing. It can take the sunlight with the water and air and make its own food. So we call them producer because they are the only living thing that can produce their own food. Insects, frogs, heron, human, all the other living things can't make their own food. They can eat each other. Like here, this bird eats the frog. The frog eats the grasshopper. But none of them can make its own food. Only grass as a plant can make its own food. So we call the grass and all the other types of plant a producer. Okay? Okay, Sama? These
Okay.
arrows, what these arrows show? The arrows shows what's the food for what. The arrows here shows that the grasshopper is a food for the frog. So the frog eat the grasshopper. And this arrow shows that the frog is the food for this bird. Okay? So the arrows in the food chain shows what is the food for the another living thing. The frog is food for the bird. The grasshopper is food for the frog. The grass is food for grasshopper. Okay? And we call all this model, the sun with the grass, the grasshopper, frog, heron, all of these, we call them food chain. Okay, Saba? So a food chain shows what living things eat in an environment. Show us what are the food of the living things in the environment. Some living things make their own food, like plants, like the grass. They make their own food. Some other eat each other, like these three living things. They eat each other. Okay? Okay. I will show you. Oh, okay. We'll show you a video for the different environment. Stay with me.
Today we will talk about the different types of environments. What is an environment? An environment is a collection of all the animals and plants in a specific. Today we will talk about the different types of environments. What is an environment? An environment is a collection of all the animals and plants in a specific area of land or water. The first environment is called wetland. Wetland is an area where there is water and a bit of land. The second environment is called the desert. The desert is a dry area of land with plenty of sand and little to no water. The third environment is called grassland. Grassland is a large open area covered with grass. The fourth environment is called a forest. A forest is a large area covered with trees and plants. The last environment I will be talking about are oceans. An ocean is a large body of water that covers the majority of the earth. Can you tell me what type of environment you live in?
There are شفتي يا صبا different types of environment. صبا معايا؟
أيوة معاك.
شفتي الفيديو؟
أيوة.
Okay, the different types of environment. Each type of environment contain living things that live inside it. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, here we'll talk about the habitat as a place that the living things are living in. Habitats, here we will talk about the environment and the difference between the environment and the habitat. An environment is made up of the conditions that surround a living thing. So the environment is everything surround us, including the conditions. Conditions is some things that can be changed. This includes non-living things. Non-living things like what? Like water, like air, like weather, okay? Like the buildings in the place. They are all called non-living things. Okay, Sabah? This includes non-living things, the amount of light. Okay, it's non-living thing present in the environment, and food that is available, and the type of soil and rocks in the surroundings. They are all enter in the definition of the environment. So the environment is everything around us, including the conditions, that things that can be changed, like the amount of light, like the food and its availability, the amount of food that's available, and the type of the soil where the plants are grow, and the rocks and in the surroundings. This is all called environment. The condition also include buildings. It also include the buildings of the human in the place, and the human activity, and the activity of the human that affect this environment. The conditions is an environment. The condition in the environment can it change. For example, the weather can change. So this is the definition of the environment. We say that it is everything around us, including non-living things and conditions that can be changed. Like what? Like the amount of light, like the food and its availability, like the type of the soil and the type of the rocks in the surrounding, like the buildings that is present, like the human activity that affect the environment. Okay? Like the weather as a non-living thing. Okay, صبا؟
Okay.
clear؟ فاهمة معنى environment؟
أيوة.
Okay. The habitat, what the meaning of the habitat? The habitat is a home. Home يعني وطن، مش بيت. لا، في فرق بين بيت وبين وطن. أي عمارة يعني أنا وطني مصر، ليه؟ ده وطني أنا اللي أنا عشت فيه. وطن كلمة أوسع شوية، يعني كلمة بتعني كتير لل-living organism. فhome is the place where the living thing can find its needs. The place where a particular living thing lives. Different animals live in different habitats. Scientists say a habitat is the natural environment that something live in or can be found. We can find sharks in the ocean. So the ocean is the habitat of the shark. We can find worms and insects maybe under the rocks. So under the rocks is the habitat of these worms. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So the habitat is the place where the living thing lives and find its need inside it. The ocean is an environment. The open ocean is the habitat for a shark. So the ocean is the habitat for the shark. Inside the ocean, there are another habitat. Like what? Like here, the coral reefs. Coral reefs is a habitat for some living organisms or some living things. Like a coral. Coral is an animal that live in the reefs. A small fish, small type of plankton, and yeah, some types of fish can live in the coral reefs. So the habitat here is the coral reefs. The coral reef is a part from the ocean environment. Understand, Sabah?
Yeah.
Okay. يبقى it is the home of this particular living thing. الhabitat is the home of the particular living thing. As we say, the ocean, the open ocean is an environment, while the coral reefs is a part of the environment, of the ocean environment, and we called it a habitat for some living things. And the ocean floor is another habitat inside the ocean environment. So the ocean floor is a habitat inside the ocean environment. Okay? Is it clear the difference
Okay.
between environment and habitat?
What?
Is it clear the difference between the environment and the habitat?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Here we will take this rabbit as an example for a living thing and its habitat. Here is the habitat of the rabbit. This habitat make the food available for the rabbit. The rabbit eats this grasses and give it its shelter. Here is the burrow where the rabbit can live. So this part is called the habitat for the rabbit. Look at this picture of the rabbit's habitat. Research what a rabbit needs to live. What's the needs of the rabbit here? He needs food. The food is present in the form of grass. He needs water. I think water is something here near this habitat. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So this is a photo for the habitat for the rabbit. It gives the rabbit its need. Shelter, here the burrow is its shelter, this food and the water present near this place. He won't challenge yourself. He wants from you to mention 6 habitats, small habitats or big habitats, and write them down. Can you mention 6 habitats, Saba?
Like forest,
Okay, forest,
oceans,
oceans,
seas.
sea, the same as oceans. Okay, seas,
Oh, okay. Desert.
yes,
Desert and
polar region,
coral reef and waterfall
yes,
and condition.
condition.
This.
What's condition?
Not condition.
Hmm.
This is 8 now.
8 now, okay. Are you stop?
Yes, I said 8.
Yes, okay. I think I have a video for you.
Plants and animals live in all sorts of places all around the world. Some live in hot, dry places, like the deserts. Here, plants and animals live in all sorts of places all around the world. Some live in hot, dry places, like the deserts. Here, cacti grow tall and animals like camels and lizards roam around. They have special ways to find and store water, even when it's really dry. Other plants and animals live in places that get lots of rain, like the rainforest. Tall trees reach for the sky and colorful birds fly between the branches. They enjoy the warm weather and lots of water from home. Some animals even live under the water, in rivers, lakes, and the ocean. Underwater animals include fish, dolphins, octopuses, and sea turtles. Plants and animals fill our grasslands. Animals like rabbits and butterflies and grasshoppers find their food in these places. And plants like grasses and small shrubs with colorful flowers grow there too. Each of these places, or habitats, give the plants and animals everything they need to survive. Plants get the sunlight, water, and air they need to grow. Animals find their food, water, and air in the places they live too. Now, think about your favorite animal. Where does it live? And how does it get the things it needs to live and grow?
شفتي ال different habitats يا صبا؟
أيوة شفتها.
تمام. Each animal can live in its own environment. Camels can live easily in the desert. The polar bear can live easily in the polar region. So each living thing can live easily in its environment. It can survive inside it. Here we will talk about another thing about the environment. The environment is very important part for us as humans and as animals. We must keep this environment clean to allow us to live in it. There are some type of scientists called ecologists. Ecologists are scientists who study habitats. They study the different habitats and the different living things that live inside these habitats. We call them ecologists. Ecologists, they study the habitats and the different changes that occur in these habitats and how these changes affect the living things that are live inside it. Okay, so they study, as an example, the desert as a habitat and study how living things like camel, like lizards, like foxes that live in the desert, how can they survive and how their bodies allow them to survive inside this habitat. And they study these features or condition inside each type of living thing and how it allow it to live easily in its environment. Okay, this is the job of the ecologist, is to study habitats and living things inside them. Okay صبا؟ Okay صبا معايا؟
أيوة أوكي.
Okay. Ecologists use their observation to explain how human action affect living things and environment they live in. They also observe the action of the human. We have effect in the environment we live. We can do bad effects and good effects. What do bad effects we do to the environment, Saba? Can you know any example?
Yes.
Like what?
To throw the bottle and the floor to take the sands and put it in the floor.
وانا
Like this.
معلش مش سامعاكي، علي صوتك شوية.
To take the bottle and put it at the floor, or take the tissue and
Pollution.
yes.
Pollution is to make the environment around us unclean or dirty. Dirty, yes. This is our bad effects on the environment. Do these garbage or waste that we throw in the environment affect the other living things?
Yes.
Yes. How it affect them?
What?
How it affect them?
Because the things what you throw it.
We make their
Yes.
habitat unclean. Unclean, like water pollution. If we throw our waste or our garbage in the water is habitat for the fish and for the marine living things. If we throw our waste in the water, we make their environment unclean and it affects them. They respire from the water. Okay? The fish respire from the water. When the water is unclean, the living things in the water can't respire. We can throw plastic materials or plastic waste. Plastic waste take a very long time to be destroyed. so it lasts for a long time inside the water. The living things in the water can eat this plastic garbage or plastic waste and it can harm them. Okay? So our
Okay.
bad effects to the environment cause harms to the living things present in this environment. If we throw our garbage in the water, it harms the living things that live in the water, the marine environment. Okay?
Okay.
Sometimes we throw the waste materials of human to the water. It's a bad effect and cause bad effects to the living things. So the ecologist, what the role of the ecologist in this case? Ecologists identify and classify the living things. They identify or make groups for the living things they find. And they observe changes in them over a long time. They observe what is the change that happened to these living things after the effect of human, after we cause water pollution. What is the effect on these living things? Okay, their observation are used to help change the way humans live and work. As they observe the bad effect of human activities to the environment, they used to help to change the way of human life. They try to change the way of throwing wastes and garbage in the water. So this bad habit, they want to change it. So they try to change the way of the human live and work. Okay? Okay, Sabah, do you know the role of the ecologists or what they affect on the community? معايا يا صبا؟
أيوة.
Okay. The first thing, they try to educate people about activities that harm the environment. Educate people against pollution. Try to make people know that the waste that they throw affects the living things negatively. They make a bad effect to the living things in the water. So they educate people or learn the people to know that throwing garbage in water is or make a bad effects to the living things inside the water. This is the first thing they do. The second one, they help care for environment so that all living things can be safe. They try to help the environment or help the living things in the environment that it is harmed. Try to help and take care and take after living things in this environment. Okay?
Okay.
And they want to recover or rebuild or remove the damage in the environment. They want to remove the damage in this environment. معايا صبا؟
أيوة معاك.
فاهماها؟ فاهمة الحتة دي كويس؟
أيوة.
It's okay. تمام. This is the role of the ecologists. They try to take care the environment and living things in the environment. These are examples for different ecologists from different countries. Okay?
Okay.
Read the information about the ecologists below. Research to find out which person is responsible for which change made or what they studied. Find one more piece of information about one of the ecologists. Share this with the class. The first one is Wangari Maathai. Wangari Maathai. This is an ecologist. This ecologist brought trees back to Kenya. In Kenya, people cut off the trees from the forests. They want to convert it to farmland. Farmland is to plant crops like tomatoes, potatoes, rice, wheat. This is called farmland. Farmland is to plant crops and bring animals like hens, like cows, buffaloes here and make a farmland, make a farm. So they cut the trees from the forests and try to make farmland and firewood. This woman called Wangari Maathai brought trees back. She bring the trees back to Kenya. Her country is Kenya. After people cut them, after they cut the trees from the forests to convert it to a farmland, its action as an ecologist is to brought the tree back to Kenya. She tried to bring the trees back to Kenya and return the forest environment. Okay, Sabah?
Okay.
This is the first ecologist called Wangari Maathai from Kenya. Okay. The second one is called Eileen Kambakota Brown. This woman. What does this woman do? This woman worked to prevent the Australian government from dumping nuclear waste in southern Australia. The Australian government has a nuclear plant. Nuclear plant is a plant that produces electricity by using the nuclear energy. Okay? This woman prevents the Australian government from dumping or throwing this nuclear waste in southern Australia. She prevents them from doing this work. This nuclear waste will make southern Australia very polluted. It has a bad effects on this environment. So this woman tried to prevent the Australian government from dumping nuclear waste in the southern Australia. Okay, so the first one is Wangari Maathai, and the second woman was Eileen Kambakota Brown. Okay, أسامي غريبة أوي، صح ولا إيه؟
أيوة أوي.
طيب. The third one is Diane Fossey. Diane Fossey studied the behavior and habitat of mountain gorillas. She focused in one type of living thing, which is gorilla. Gorilla is a type of animal that is sensitive, very sensitive to viruses and bacteria. It can catch the disease easily and die. They are near extinction or endangered animal. Endangered, an animal under the danger of extinction. Do you know the word extinction or the meaning of extinction?
No.
Extinction انقراض. انقراض يعني حيوان die from all over the earth. It disappear from the surface of the earth. This is called extinction. يعني الانقراض. Gorilla is a part of living thing which is sensitive to viruses and bacteria from human. If they catch a disease, they die. Directly. So this woman, which is called Diane Fossey, studied the behavior and the habitat of the mountain gorillas. She focused in the mountain gorillas and studied its behavior, its act, and its habitat, the place where it lives, and prevented people from cutting down trees and destroying their habitat. Its habitat is to live within the trees and within the mountain, in the mountains and the trees. The people try to cut down the trees. When they cut down the trees, they destroy the habitat of this gorilla. This gorilla, its habitat is destroyed. If its habitat is destroyed, it will move to another place. If it can't move, it will die. Okay? So if the habitat of the living thing is destroyed, this living thing will try to move to another habitat. If it can't live in this or another habitat, it will die. Okay, Sabah?
Okay.